Hello everyone to the series 3 of Discover Your Second Act podcast. After having 100 guests, I'm just honored to bring in more and more stories of people and their second acts. Today, I'm very heartfully welcoming Satish Rao. Welcome to Second Act podcast, sir. And this is a platform which has people literally opening their hearts. And when I spoke to you, I thought you're just the right person because you were so open to share your story, so open to be yourself. And I think the book that you've written, we'll talk more about it. But just to give a little bit of an introduction about you, you are the chairman and managing director of a company called Firmenich in India. And this company is into something that everyone loves, fragrances and tastes. Something that we can all feel, the sixth sense as we call it, or something which touches us as people. So what a beautiful space to be in. And of course, you're an author of this best-selling book, Can I Fly? And I cannot wait to talk more about the book. You're a golfer. You are a person who loves to help people in the space of philanthropy and like a give back. And we will also talk about that. So welcome. Thanks for flying down from Mumbai for this. It's a beautiful space to be in, and welcome here.
Thank you, Archana. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thanks. So, Second Act started with this journey of like discovering a potential that I never discovered before. It was more on the space of sitting here, talking to lovely people like you. It takes courage, it takes confidence, it takes a lot. I think a lot of grit and also persistence. I didn't give up. We did 100 podcasts already. I'm sure that in your journey of being a leader, of changing over companies, and now what you're doing for many years, what has your journey been where you have broken some barriers, probably come out and experienced something that you had never done before?
Oh, that's a insightful question. So let me try and articulate the answer to this question this way. I think every single person who is listening or seeing this podcast today would have their own stories, and each one have their own life journeys. And every lifespan has a story baked into it. Now, if I have to share a couple of sentences about myself, I hail from Mumbai, and that's where I grew up. But then there was something which struck me probably when I was 20 or 21 when I joined as a management trainee, that I want to be a CEO at the age of 45. Don't ask me why, what. Maybe it was over a couple of glass of beer I came up, but somehow that became my life mission. That is the only thing which I was hell-bent on. And as I say that not everybody is blessed to be born with popular last names, say Tatas or Birlas.
Yes,
or
that's true.
So we have to carve out a niche for ourselves. But this is a lofty dream I had set for myself. And the one of the thing I quickly realized is it's a crowded space. It's a crowded space of talent. It's a crowded space of smart people. And if you really, there's only one corner office in every company, right? So early on, there was an opportunity for me to move to Shanghai. And this was in 1999. We were one of the first 50 Indian families to move to China.
Wow.
And I think that was, to answer your question, Archana, is there was butterflies in my stomach saying that, am I doing the right thing? And I remember my mom asking, saying that, beta, everybody is going to west and you're going to east. I hope you are in your right sense of mind. But that's where I said that if you want to make a difference, if you want to cut time, if you want to really, you need to take some risks in life. And this was my intuition, or just the gut feel saying that, you know what, this is the China happening time. I'm talking about 25 years back. And rightfully, I got that tailwind. 6 years there was an amazing learning personally, professionally, and as an ecosystem. And I think that completely changed me as a human being, of what relationship should be, how you should adapt yourself. I was a pure vegetarian, and 3 days into Shanghai, started eating anything which walks, talks, crawls. So you need to adapt yourself, need to get yourself a part of the ecosystem, and huge learning. So if I had to take out one slice of life of my life journey, I would pick up that, which was not at all easy, but at the hindsight, probably that catapulted me to probably my life vision.
But I think there are many, because when I read the book, I think there is also a chapter on chawl to CEO. And I think that, I'm sure, is a journey that you've covered beautifully as well. Not giving up challenges or obstacles or even breaking your own barriers from inside. Dreaming about being a CEO and just being there are two very different things. So tell us a little bit about this phase of your life, and of course the chapter that beautifully, kind of encaptures everything.
Yeah, I should admit that it took a bit of time for me to think through should I put this up in the book or not. But thanks to my wife, who literally said, "Listen, if this book is something which you're writing from your heart, Satish, and it's for the youngsters who are making it into the corporate career, that be honest to yourself. What does it make sense if you're not being honest to what you
Wow.
went through?" I thought that really pushed me, saying that okay, it is what it is. So let me put this out. So that's the first chapter. I'm sure you're referring to Chawl to CEO. So I have no embarrassment to say that my first 20 years of my life, I grew up in a chawl. And people who lived in Bombay know what is chawl. It's a small little dwelling, a very small house
Yes.
with a common corridor. But I thank my stars to be growing up there, because I think that's where you get that fire in the belly, saying that, you know what, I want to achieve something in life. So that's where I have a quick 1 minute story there. So it was my first job after being a management trainee. I studied in my MBA in Bombay, and I still remember my campus job was in a German company. Their headquarters was in Express Towers, just overseeing the Arabian Sea. And this was in the 17th floor. So my day one, wore my nice jacket, which was actually borrowed from a friend of mine, because we couldn't afford the blazers those days. And on the day one, we have this. They had this concept of 5 minutes one-on-one with CEO. I was really excited that I'm going to meet the CEO of the company. And I still remember my time came, the HR lady got me into that room, and I was sitting in that beautiful office overseeing the Arabian Sea. And believe it or not, this is the first time I'm seeing sea from a building,
Oh my
despite staying in Bombay. So you can imagine the kind of wow struck I was.
Wow.
And I said, wow, at least I've joined a perfect company. It's a great place to be here. But then the point I'm trying to make is something very different. So there was this 6 feet 3 inches tall man, blonde hair, turned is this thing, all the three window panes overseeing the sea. And we spoke for 5 minutes. He was CEO, and obviously he was the CEO of the company. He was a German, elderly person. Talked about some pleasantries, welcoming to the company. After 5 minutes, I come out. There's completely confusion in my face, and this HR person who can read your face, obviously, saying that, Satish, you look completely confused, bewildered. Was all okay? I said, yeah, it's all okay, but I'm very confused. He said, what? And the first thing which came to my mind is, I'm confused that why is a German a CEO of a company in India? I just don't understand that. And this just came out. She said, yeah, it's a German company. So I said, oh, okay. And that day evening, we 5 management trainees went to a nearby watering hole, gulped some beer, and each one was talking about the day one. And I just told about this, my 5 minutes interaction with the CEO. And I said, you know what? I was a bit humiliated, you may say, the feeling of humiliation, a bit of down feeling. I said, why? I said, I'm surprised that out of 1.2 billion people in the country, they couldn't find one person of Indian origin to head a company in India. Shame on us.
That's gutsy.
That's being so that's what I said. Probably it was a couple of beers speaking, saying that if there's one thing I would like one day to be a CEO of a company, having this corner office for a multinational company in India, and I'm not going to wait till 60. I want to be at least 15 years before that. That is 45. It just came out, and that became the life mission. So I don't want to, but the point here is, once you are stuck with something like that, your whole purpose in life is only that, right or wrong. But that became my only purpose, and I ensured that this is where I would like to go, and probably my China journey or the US journey. Eventually, I was 45, I was not a CEO. I was a bit sad, but 6 months after that, I remember the US company which I was working for, they acquired a company in India, and guess what? The CEO calls me to my office. That time I was working in US, saying that, Satish, we want you to go over to India and run our company as a CEO in India. I just had to pinch myself. I said, wow. It was 6 months after becoming 45. but lo, the day has come. And the point I'm trying to make is, if this guy from chawl can dream something like this, I'm sure each one of you have immense talent in
Wow.
you, good value system, good goal. You can achieve it. There nothing can stop between you and the goal, provided most important thing, which is what I covered in the book, is you don't trip on the soft virtues of leadership. Don't trip on your values. Don't trip on your morals. If that's the case, you'll definitely reach your goal. That's the story.
I think what we're hearing is a lot of experience of a person who's actually understood his own self. And, second act is all about that space where we have never wanted to, or never challenged ourselves, or never put ourselves, taken the first step ahead. So here's this person who's commendable, who's not only taken the first step but gone all the way out. So very inspiring story indeed. But my question always is, because I work on people where we are restricting ourselves to our limiting beliefs of something that stops us because of our upbringing, about our peer, about what people say to us, about the kind of people we roam around with. And so we start believing that I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. My luck didn't take me that far. So I don't think I have this passion to even dream, leave alone anything else. So how did that happen? Did anything not stop you or tell you that you can never do it? And where was that fire coming from?
You know what? I'm just small this thing in this entire ecosystem, but let me use some real life examples of legends which all of us know now. But the point we need to know, understand, is the background. Here is a story. A lady was interviewed by a radio company in US,
Okay.
and she was rejected, saying that she doesn't, her stage presence is not good enough to be an anchor or to be a part of this TV broadcast show. And that lady eventually became none other than Oprah Winfrey. There's a guy who was fired from his job from again a publishing company, saying that he lacks creativity. He lacks creativity. That person eventually became the ultimate godfather of something which creativity is defined from, called Walt Disney. So the point I'm trying to make is, these are all real examples which all of us, we all know our own legendary star,
Yes.
Amitabh Bachchan. He didn't get a job in All India Radio. Today, people pay millions just to get 2 minutes of his airtime with his voice. So the point here is, what is this one common thing across all these guys?
Right.
They believed in themselves. The world didn't believe in them. Their immediate stakeholder didn't believe in them. They had every reason to say, I call quits, let me go somewhere else. But did they do that? No. It took perseverance. It took a perseverance of lifetime, saying that, you know what, I don't care what people say, but this is what I'm going to keep doing. But genuinely believe in it, but not just believe, genuinely work on it. These stars are not born overnight. They work hard on it. We all know the story of Sachin Tendulkar. Even in his last test match, he was practicing as if it's his first match. There is a lot of discipline to that. There is a goal, there is a
Right.
self-belief, and if that happens, nothing can stop you from becoming legends. I think that's the example I would love to share, because please believe in yourself and work hard towards it. That's very
I
important.
think that's a very golden rule for any successful person. Just believe in yourself. But it's not easy. Okay. And do you also feel that failures are a big part of success?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I keep saying that I think there's no human being who has not done anything wrong, who has not failed. Otherwise, we all would have been gods, right? Come on, let's cut that stuff. But in fact, I keep telling to my teenage daughter, saying that you have a license to do mistakes, that's fine. But beta, don't do the same mistake again in life. I think that's important. Learn from your mistake, cut short the repercussions of the mistakes, cut it out, get up, start running, but don't repeat the same mistake. Now, to answer the question on what have you learned from the mistakes? Of course, all of us have done mistakes. In my career, I would be blunt in saying that, whether I was a marketing person, and there is a lot of, as you know, most of the new products what you launch doesn't work. It's a small percentage which work, and I have launched products thinking that it's the best product in the
Yeah.
world, which is bomb. And you quickly try to understand what went wrong, try to document it, try to analyze it, ensure that you inculcate those learnings in the next time. So all of us, whether it is as a student, as a professional career, you do it, but have the courage to accept it and run with it. Now, here there's one thing I would like to share is the mistake, which is one can be professional mistakes. That's okay. There are some mistakes done on values, and that is something which also I've written in this, and I have no problem to share this because this can really connect with a lot of youngsters
Yes.
over here. It's a very interesting, a bit funny. It could be a bit embarrassing story, but I have no problem to share that. As you said, it takes courage to the second act. So let me try to be one. So this was early on in early 20s, and I'm talking about this when I started the career 25 years back. This company had a rule or a policy that the first month you could reimburse the taxi fare from wherever you are staying to the office. So as I said, I grew up in humble dwellings, and taxi was a big luxury for us. We used to take the suburban trains. So I still remember the train journey from the house to this office used to be 2 rupees, and the taxi would cost 80 rupees. So to and fro was 160 rupees. So me and my friend were going to, they said, why should we take a cab when in half an hour you can take the suburban train and go to the office? And especially after your management, you think you have arrived in life, right? Everybody else are stupid and we are great, smart alike. And we were no different. So what we did was first week, we took the train when these are the pre-Ola and the pre-Uber days. So we had to do a self-voucher, tell them we spend, and the company gave you cash. So imagine 160 rupees versus 4 rupees of spend, and those days that was big. And I still remember my dad after the first week, on a Sunday, he says, "So beta, how was your first week at work?" I said, "Oh, fantastic, nice office, beautiful view, fantastic people. But guess what? It's a bit dumb company." I said, "Why?" He said, "They're giving us taxi fare when a train can take directly over there. In 5 minutes, you walk it up. And it's 140 rupees difference. And we just claimed it, they gave it. And no questions asked, so we just became richer by that." The colors on my dad's face changed. He said, "Beta, whatever you just told me now, would you have the courage to tell this to the finance manager of this company?" I said, "Oh no, I don't know whether I'll be comfortable to tell that." I said, "Okay, here is something. I may not be as intelligent as you, I may not be as educated as you, but if you feel appropriate, listen to it, otherwise forget it." I said, "Yeah, Dad, tell me what is that." He said, "Beta, every day before you go to bed, do one thing. Go and stand in front of a mirror. Look into the eyes of the person you are seeing in the mirror. Ask one question. Have I done anything today which I will have no problem to share it with somebody who is very close to me? It could be a girlfriend, it could be a mom, it could be your brother, it could be anybody. Or you may choose not to tell. That's okay. But will you have the courage to share it?" And if the answer is yes, thumbs up. If the answer is no, you don't have the right to live as a human being from next day. Wow, pretty deep, pretty profound.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of years even to understand this. But friends, if there's one thing out of this podcast I would love you to take is this. And I call this as mirror test. There's nothing else. So somehow that's become super popular. So there's nothing. I just call this as mirror test, which was told to my dad by my dad 25 years back. Is I have been using this philosophy very regularly in life. And friends, I can tell you one thing. There are many decisions in life I would have taken was wrong. No pretenses, absolutely. But after that day, I can tell one thing, that never I have failed the mirror test.
Wow.
I think that's the real essence of human being. Don't do something where you yourself will be ashamed of. As they say, your best character is when you are in front of people. The true character is when nobody is watching you. And there cannot be a lighter conscience than the conscience of light pillow. And that's my giveaway, that don't trip on your values. There's no second chance there. So don't do that. Never, ever do that.
It's very deep. And I have to say that you have challenged people to be human beings from the next day. I don't know who will exist in this world then, because I think every day we are doing such wrong things. But you're right. I think if we can look into our eyes and face the person who's in the mirror, we will be a very different world altogether, isn't it? So everybody who's hearing, take a mirror test and see where you stand, because this is something that I'm sure will fail everybody. But I'm so glad and very from my heart, I want to say thanks for sharing this, because I think we all are doing something wrong every day. Just that we are repeating the same mistakes, like you said. Taking wrong decisions is not with the intention of taking a wrong decision, but what you're saying is at a deeper level of owning up something that we are doing repeatedly consciously. So I think, are we those conscious people? We are all talking about conscious living, conscious planet, but it all starts with conscious human beings. So I think you've touched upon a topic which is very deep rooted, but very shaking at the same time. So it's shaken me. I'm going to take the mirror test today and see, well, what did I do? So thanks for bringing that story. You spoke about younger generation, right? And while, of course, there are very many values of leadership that you've discussed in the book, today's generation, and I remember my son, when he was in the 10th standard, he got up one day and he said, either I should have been born in a chawl or I should have been born in Ambani's. Where have you guys got me in the middle? Because I don't have aspiration. I don't think I can do it that way or this way. And literally from that day, it stuck with me that what is this younger generation aspiring to be? How do they become the leaders, who hold values together? Are they in a rush to get everything, very fast, much better? They don't want to struggle that much and be CEO at 45. They want to be CEOs at 21. So how do you handle that? Because you also have younger kids. I have younger kids at home. Yeah. So this is something that I also want to ask experienced parents, especially who've been there now in the journey.
Absolutely. I think it's a normal dilemma which all of us face through, especially as parents of these young kids who wants to achieve, but then they have the basic means of living. And very beautifully asked question by your son, which I completely resonate as the challenge for most of the parents. So here is one thing I would share is whether anybody comes from any socio-economic class or any strata of society, there is always an aspiration. There's always an aspiration, and if there is one thing which cuts a human being from any other avatars of living people, that is this, that there is an aspiration to achieve something in life. But that's one thing. I'm not going to touch on that. But the point I wanted to share is, if you want to reach something, there's something called hard skills and soft skills.
Right.
What I would love to really focus today's discussion is, what are those one or two very, very important things which these youngsters need to know, and they literally have to etch it in their blood, is some of these soft virtues. And one of them, if I had to pick up, I've written about 6 or 7 of them in this book, Can I Fly? But if there's one of them I would pick up, would be values. And this is what, as parents, I always feel that other than education, there's one thing we can give to our kids, is this values. And I wanted to illustrate that to a very, very, very hard-hitting story which I came across. This was a retired army officer in US. He used to always take a bus from his home to a cafe every day, and it used to cost $50. So he used to give a dollar note, and the conductor would give him 2 quarters, which is 50 cents, put it back. And this was his routine. Every day at the same time he would go, the conductor knew, the driver knew him, he would sit, and he would always wear a lapel pin, which is like any retired armed service person would have. That was his sense of pride. And one day he gave, and it was almost his stop had come, and he saw he had 3 quarters instead of 2 quarters, which was given. And he almost stepped out, and you can see at his age, he was almost stepping down the bus, and he was just thinking, oh my gosh, now just for 25 cents, should I go back, tell the conductor, you've given me more? Just forget it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just 25 cents. Something told him, and then he just stopped, came back, went to the conductor saying that, gentlemen, you have given me 25 cents more. Maybe it's a mistake. Here it is. The conductor says, sir, sorry, it was not a mistake. I said, what is this? Said, here it is. I want to tell you why I did that. My son wants to get into the armed services. And I had heard that anybody who graduates from here becomes a true gentleman, gentleman of character, gentleman of values. But I was not too sure whether it's the case with everybody. And I have seen you have always been coming here. So I wanted to test it out. And sir, today evening I'm going to go and tell my son with pride, go ahead. And guess what this armed officer, retired armed officer thinks? Oh my gosh. If I would not have taken that decision of giving it back for 25 cents, I would have spoiled the reputation of an entire ecosystem.
Wow.
And that, gentlemen and ladies, that's what I call it as value. For 25 cents, he would have tortured the entire stuff, and he would not have taken that mirror test himself if that we would have done it. But according to me, that's values. And that changed the life of this conductor and his son. And I think if there is one message which the youngsters should know is, do anything, but please, please don't compromise on your values. That will be an expensive mistake in life.
I think what I want to tell the young people is that, it seems very non-doable to just keep following values, but we all have to fall and learn. So don't fear falling. I think fall, learn, and get your values back in place, because I think unless you do that, you will not be sitting here discussing your stories of success, your stories of second act. So thanks for sharing. It's a very powerful story what you said. And I'm hoping that all the younger people are hearing, all the younger leaders who are CEOs at 24, are hearing it. So I want to tell you about, of course, the title of the book is very intriguing. However, my question is, can I fly is a question. It's still putting a question mark, can I do it? Instead, if you would have said, I can fly, it changes the narratives. So I've been wanting to ask you, why did you choose this title? And why not the other way around?
Lovely question. Wow, I've got a lot of questions in the book, but I should admit this is probably a very, very deep insight question. I'll share with you because there are various permutation combination of this title which we worked upon. And one thing was very clear, I wanted it to be short because nobody remembers long. But then it did come to us that I can fly versus can I fly. But again, going with the theme of the book, this book is, in fact, I should tell you, it's a very honest, I'm not an author, by the way, I want to make a disclosure.
It's a best-selling book.
I know, but then it was a COVID baby, so in COVID lockdown, nothing to do, no golf, no partying, so just scribbled something, and then I thought this is something which I should write keeping youngsters in mind. But then probably, fortunately or unfortunately, I did probably one thing. I made my 21-year-old daughter as the critique of this book.
Very nice.
So she's in Boston. So after a couple of chapters, I sent to her saying that, beta, just give me your comments. And guess what she does? All the daughters here can resonate very clearly. 80% of the chapters she just crossed it. I said, hello, what are you doing? Well, these kids can be ruthless with papas, right? So her point was that if you're writing a book, because all said and done, the papa in a man can never be stopped, right? So preaching, do this, do this. So this generation don't want that. We all know that as parents, right? You don't want to be prescriptive. You don't want to tell your kids, don't do this and do this. But they're smart enough. They said, you know what we want to learn from you guys? Tell us the stories. Tell us what actually, we will decode the message out of it. You don't tell us what to do, but tell us the story. We will decipher the message. So I had to rewrite the whole thing. But fortunately what happened is, this book is completely a assimilation of real stories. This is not a biopic, by the way, okay? By no means, I'm not at all qualified for that. But this is a book where it is actually written of real stories of legends, of cricketers, Bollywood stars, Hollywood stars, football stars, real stories which has made them what they are. And in between, little bit of couple of cents of my stories. But the point here is that these what she brought me to deflect is write about the stories which actually connects with the heart. And maybe that's why it got into the bestseller list. Is these are real life stories, but there's 20% of gyan because you can't take out the papa out of a man. But then that's only to illustrate what you read out of this. But these are actual assimilations of real stories. It's a very light read. You don't require an Oxford dictionary next to you. It's pretty simple, written from the heart. And I think that is what created this Can I Fly? But then the point I was trying to make is I wanted to be very pragmatic, saying that if I would have said I can fly, it becomes very bombastic. It sounds very authoritative. It sounds saying that I've arrived in life. No, no. Because one of the virtues I'm trying to preach in this is be humble. Humility is your virtue. Not everybody can, whatever it is, that's life. That's how it is. But be happy with it. So the whole thing is, can I fly? And if I need to fly, what are those simple 3, 4, 5 things which I should do? And this whole book talks about how people have done it. They've tripped, they've fallen. Some people have woken up, some people have got up, and they've reached where they want to reach. So the whole story is, it's a question mark. Can I fly? And if you really want to do that, maybe this could help you. So that's I just wanted to keep it very, very pragmatic and honest, and not being authoritative or bombastic at all.
I think that's a personality that you carry as well. So take a compliment there.
Thank you.
Because
That's sweet of you.
that is a very real personality sitting in front of me. So thank you for sharing. Do you believe in power of manifestation? Because Can I Fly to I Can Fly is a power of manifestation, which you actually did in your life. It was, I will become a CEO, and so you did. Can I become a CEO was like, okay, I need to take steps. So do you believe in a power of manifestation?
Yes, absolutely. But then I should say that I had the vision of being a CEO at 45. I did not. I crossed by, my wife keep reminding, you did not. Please make it very clear. It took you 6 months later because 100 is 100, 99.5 is not 100.
Oh, so, no, that's not fair.
so that's how it is. But then yes, I mean, to answer your question, I think I do believe in manifestation. It's a very strong attribute in life, and I think once you believe in it, you work on it, don't trip on your values, ensure that and by the way, when I say values, each one can have different set of values. Sure. I don't mean to say what is right and what is wrong. What is right for your family, what is right for you, please follow that 100%, and don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite. Be honest with what you believe you need to be. I think you can go places in life.
Very nice. So people who are hearing, of course, take this as a very strong point again. Manifest where you want to be and just follow some simple steps. Learn from people's lives. There are enough stories written of how people have accomplished where they are today. Of course, a lot has to do with falling and taking another step, getting up on your own, but something will hold you. Your own instincts will hold you. Maybe somebody who's seeing you will hold you. So thanks for sharing that. I want to ask you now that, books is one thing, but when, as a personality, when, you're writing something from the heart, there is something that you also feel from the synergy outside. Do you believe in spirituality? I mean, and what's your definition of it? Did you experience that when you were writing something here?
Absolutely, big time. I mean, my definition of, everybody have their own definition of spirituality. I'm a big believer of the fact that you are an outcome of the ecosystem in which you thrive, right, and which you choose to be a part of. Right. As they always say, your character is defined by the company you keep. And I have always ensured that one of the big things where you remain grounded is, in fact, just last evening I spent the entire evening with my school friends. Wow. Whom probably I graduated 40 years back. But guess why? I mean, they're still my very good friends. They may not be who's who in life, but they are gem of people. Why? Because they are the people who talk to you not because you're a CEO. They are the people who tell you on your face, Satish, I don't like what you have done, because they talk to you as a friend and they ground you. They bring you to Mother Earth, and that's where probably humbleness sets you right, that whatever it is, don't keep flying. I mean, be grounded. So from one end, the point I'm trying to make is, you choose to be there because A, you love to be with them, but B, you know that these guys will be honest with you. They are not going to talk something which is your song to your ears, because all of us who are at workplace, and if you are holding some important positions, we all know that you most of the time you tend to hear what they know you want to hear, and that's part of our life, right? Or part of life as a CEO. But then what is also more important is you need to hear what probably you will not be expecting. Yeah, part of it you always get it from home, from your better halves. That's always the case. But then always choose the people who would challenge your thoughts. They always say hire people who are even better than you. Hire people who have different set of skill sets, and that requires a bit of, and not just who are going to tell yes to what you're. That's from a professional field. And also try to be with people with whom you can learn. Try to be with people whom you adore. Try to be with people whom you feel have achieved in life, because they are the people from whom you're going to learn. Everybody needs to have a mentor in life. Everybody needs to have a coach in life at every single point of time. I'm an 82-year-old person who was saying that I need to rush now. I said, why? Because I'm going to meet my mentor. I said, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Because every day is a learning day. And he's my golfing friend. So amazing person. But so the point I'm going to make is you need all kinds of people to make you a rounded person. Spend time with your mom, spend time with your kids, spend time with your friends, spend time with your gurus, spend time with your... So that for me is spiritualism. That's what is everyday life learning. And of course, the books, it should always be your best friend.
So nobody has put it so beautifully. I have to say, I asked this question many times because I am also a very spiritual person. But the definition that you gave was so holistic. So find your spiritual partner, whether it lies anywhere from your friends to family, to books, to things, to walks in the nature, to whatever. Find that friend who makes you the person you are. So I think that really sums up beautifully. But this podcast is about second act. And second act, as I say, is a metaphor. It is not that you leave your corporate life and you start something and that's your second act. Second act is that which pulls you out of bed. It makes you smile, it makes you give back, it makes you shine, it makes this life worth it. I've understood my second act after literally touching 50, but at least I'm working very hard on it. So I want to ask you, is there a second act that you're living? Is there a second act that you would want to go to? Or is there something that really drives you to be the person you are every day?
First of all, I applaud you to come up with this very, what you call it as a simple metaphor, but I think it's a very, very deep metaphor, which I don't think anybody has even crystallized it as simplistically as what you have done. Don't take this by the real word meaning, but it has a lot of depth into it, the second act. And I think every human being goes through that. And if I have to think through my life, and I'll be very upfront in saying that it's just I'm returning. I returned back to Mumbai, where I hail from, after 25 years of global nomadic life. I was happy in US, a nice place, nice thing to spend there almost a decade. But then, if I have to now connect, and I should say probably your word second act made me to think through this, is as you know that most of the people who migrate to US don't really think of coming back. I mean, they certainly, which is right, all for the right reasons. So I'm nothing against it. But in my case, probably the thing which sort of got me back to my mother country of India was this whole passion, saying that okay, everybody does for oneself. There's nothing great about it. I keep saying that. I mean, anybody doing for progress of yourself, your own family, every single human being does it. But I think if you really want to do something beyond that, which is doing good to a community, doing good to a society, doing good to something beyond just you and your family, you need to be conscious about it. You need to be empathetic about it. And then if you have to choose a place, what could be a better place than India? Which is where is required. Here is a land of talents, land of this thing. And if you really want to touch something with a positive energy, with a real sincere intent, this is the place to contribute. This is the place to leave a legacy. This is the place to touch people's life in a positive way. And by no means I'm saying that I'm going to change the world hunger. No. But if there are small little things, for example, I've taken up a cause that I want to do good to the school which I graduated 40 years back. It's a simple English medium school. 90% of the kids who are coming to that school are now from slums. But kids are kids, beautiful kids, English medium school. So what can we do to give them a international quality education to the kids who can't even afford 2 meals a day? That's the purpose for which you live. You, of course, you earn your living, that's fine. But on the other side, if there is anything which you could do to the betterment of that small section of the society, probably you go back to bed with a nice smile in your heart, saying that, you know what, I've touched 2 people's life. And I think that sense of gratification is far, far higher than a big bonus check. That doesn't mean you don't like bonus check, that's different.
Yeah, we all love.
But I think these are the things which sometimes we overlook or oversee in our speed of achieving materialistic things in life. And to answer it, my second act was probably that decision to move back to India was that, and thanks to my wife who fully supported me in this journey, and we are happy souls, and so happy that we took that decision of coming back, because we could do much, much more beyond ourselves in the city of Mumbai or in India, which probably I would not have got in the Western world.
So great, Satish. So Satish says that his second act is literally a decision that is empowering him to empower other people, maybe kids, providing education. This leaves us with that question, what is your second act? Do think about it, because every person who comes on this podcast leaves us with some thought. Why don't we just introspect a bit? And if we don't have a meaning yet, maybe there is a meaning that we can find today. So thanks, Satish, for that, and that rounds up this conversation. But there is a very interesting piece of like few more questions on the fireside chat, as I call it, or like the quick questions, to know you a little bit more better, right? So if I say 3 life lessons from your life, what are those which really are on you or your personality or making you the person you are today?
Oh, very simple, straight. Values, humility, morals. 3 most important things which has always been close to my heart.
Very nice, thank you. So about the book, which is the next title you're thinking, if you are, and if you haven't thought of a title, maybe what would be that title?
I'll be very honest. No, I have not. And I don't think there is plans in the immediate future. As I told you that it was thanks to COVID that I got myself to writing. I'm not an author. I don't think I have that kind of a patience to really write that much. And it was only because COVID happened to this world. There's lockdown, nothing to do. And I don't want this world to go back to get into another COVID-like of situation. And since it won't happen, and I don't want it to happen, I have no plans to write another book.
But the question is, if there had to be a title for your next book, what would that be?
I've been very honest, I've not even thought about it. Title is very long way off. I've not even thought about it, to be honest. No.
See you at 45 and how. Okay, so what is that one conscious thing that you've changed within yourself over the years to become the person you are? Consciously worked on it.
I don't know whether it's conscious or subconscious. I think it's a way of evolution in your life journey. I think it was a very over the years, if there's one thing which has changed, and I think it's changed for good, is the move or the evolution from I to we to you. Wow. Because as a kid, it's all about I want to be the first ranker, I want to be the best kid in the school class, I want to be the topper, blah, blah, blah. And then you get into your management study, I want to be the person who has arrived in life. Then it's about we, me, my team, my family, my this thing. And I think later on you realize that, come on, you can't be that self-centered. Then it's all about you. That, I do coach, I do mentor kids, and the biggest satisfaction is when they succeed. That success is far more important. And now, literally, it has become almost like a mantra even for me at work, that I would like my team to succeed. I would like them to fly. And their flight, their journeys, their success is far, far more giving umpteen satisfaction than my own success. I think once that comes, you create 10, hundreds of more avatars or better avatars than you. Wow. The world becomes a better place to stay. Yeah, so it's I to we to you.
This I will remember. And thank you for sharing that with me, because it really went deep inside me to say, okay, yeah, but that I've never heard before.
That's what you're doing through this podcast. Absolutely.
So thank you. And then one question, of course, on the fragrances. Which is your best fragrance you always must carry?
My favorite fragrance is jasmine. For some reason, that's always been very
Me too,
very.
me
Oh,
too.
there you go, there you go. That's it's pure, white, lovely smell.
Beautiful.
But then it's very personal. I mean, everybody have their own personal choices. But you ask my personal fragrance, that's it.
One thing that you have changed as a husband over years.
You should ask my wife that. I don't
I
think.
want to ask you. Maybe I will ask her as well. But this time it's you. What have you changed as a partner?
Okay, now that you're really getting into the real second-hand space, I think one of the things I really love to do on the weekend is play golf. And as you know, golf is almost like an addiction.
It's your second wife.
Absolutely.
First wife.
There you go.
Yeah.
So one of the, and then once you get into that, just leave, breathe golf, and then you realize that you can take a passion, but don't take it to a level which it almost becomes family obstructive. So I've got a philosophy in life that I do play golf on the weekend, but it's my self-made rule. My wife is gem of a lady. So Jyoti, if you're listening, you should listen this. She would never mind, but I have taken a resolution that it's only one day of the weekend I'll play golf. I'll not never ever play 2 days, because that for me is a family time. So I try to optimize that. So that is one thing which I used to do both the days back home. But then I took a conscious effort saying that now that she's alone at home, I have my obligation as a husband, as a partner at home. So one day for golf and one day for my wife Jyoti. So that's conscious decision.
Very good. So Jyoti, kudos to who you are probably. That's driven him to you again, which is in the second part of our life anyway. We need each other much more. The last question is that if you had to say one thing to people who are listening to us and recapping everything today, what would that be?
If there's one thing I would live by this time, you would have seen what's my sort of a soft spot in terms of where I'm coming from, is there are hard virtues in life, there are soft virtues in life. There are skills which you can develop, which you can learn, de-learn, but there is one thing which I think it's simply non-negotiable. As I say, there's no right way to do a wrong thing. So if there's one thing I would like to leave as a message, is never ever violate or deviate or trip on the soft virtues of your life, which you define what it could be the values you may hold close to your heart, it could be morals, it could be ethics, it could be humility, it could be perseverance. These are soft virtues in life. It defines the character of a person, and it takes a lifelong to reach where you want to reach, but it takes a second to drop straight from where it is, from glory to dust. You don't want to go that route. You want to stay in that for as much long time as possible. And the only mantra where I would say to do that is to stay true to yourself. And that's what mirror test captures all this, that don't do anything where it defies your own conscience. That's not a good place to be. So if there's one thing I would leave back with, is don't fail the mirror test.
Wow. So I hope that everybody who heard us today aligns quite as much as I align to this thought process of being the person we are, of not wanting not to discuss our failures but only successes. I think we are talking about real people here, and real successes come from a lot that we are open to share. So hope the Second Act podcast brings you the story of Satish Rao today, which has inspired some. If you want more people like Satish to come and share their stories, if you know them personally, who have been instrumental in bringing a huge change in themselves so that they can impact somebody else today, bring them on. So here's signing off from Second Act Podcast.